Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am testing because tomorrow is going to be fun. Got a cool conversation with Dakar about the custom worlds that we're both building. And I'm really, really excited about that conversation. So I want to make sure that this streaming setup works properly beforehand. I'm learning to prepare and be responsible. So I'm just gonna do this very basic little stream here. It's nothing too long. I have work to do. As you can see here, this is the rest of the stuff I need to do to finish off Enigma and get it launched to the public. I won't go into too much detail about what Enigma is right now because tomorrow I'll be talking about that with Dakar. I'm working on Enigma and Path of Magic, and he's working on Heim Divers. And I really hope he shows you some of the stuff visually. He said he'd screen share and share a little bit. So we'll see, because Heim Divers is fucking awesome. It's almost hard to tell that it's Valheim, really. But moving on. Today, what I'm going to be doing is just doing some really basic scripting. I have this list in Discord of all the things that I need to do, okay? So we have this expand world prefabs task list, and as we can see, we have these scripting tasks, and I have all of these things. So what I'm going to do for this stream is just find some really simple ones and go with that. So let's see. What would be easy to do right now? These are kind of complicated. This one's pretty easy, actually. Oh, I already did this. Ooh, there's a typo in that, but that's probably not good for right now. I need to do something that shows off, like, Valheim in 1080p and see how my internet handles it. So I don't want to spend too much time looking at text screens. So let's see. Okay, I already did a lot of this stuff, actually. Fader, path repair, maybe something further down. Let's see. Grammar in the coin trader messages. Hey, there we go. That's actually really, that works. That's easy to do. But there's 1,000 of those, though, so, wooden arrow trading mechanism typo. There we go. This one will be relatively easy. So to begin, we're going to open up our FileZilla client here, and I'm doing this off screen, but I'll show you the actual text file for the actual scripting. Just give me a moment here. Bepanex, config, expand world. Here we go. So what I'm looking for is why wooden arrows don't properly convert to the trader. So first things first, actually, let's test this out. So we're going to need a trader. Let's make a diverger real quick. All right, here's our trader. And what's supposed to happen is when you have wooden arrows, spawn arrow wood, let's go with like 200. You're supposed to be able to throw arrows at the traders in full stacks, and then they'll like upgrade them, if that makes sense. But I seem to have broken that at some point. Let me give you an example of how the traders work with a proper item. Spawn feathers, let's get like 50 of them. So Valheim has loads of accumulating items that might not always have a use. I'm not saying feathers are one of those, I'm just telling you, there's loads of items that accumulate in Valheim and end up feeling completely worthless. So in Path of Magic and Enigma, you can actually sell things to any diverger you find. This is another thing I'll get into, but I believe that the diverger are the key to making Valheim feel more alive. They're the people that live in the world, and right now, they look cool, but they don't really feel cool, right? And I think the key is to give them more interaction with the player. So on Path of Magic, this is how I handle that. All of the diverger become traders, essentially. And what we're looking for, actually, is just to see if the normal trading works. So you can normally just run up to a diverger and then toss them any item, and then they'll be like, hey, yo, okay, here you go. But that isn't happening right now. So let me make sure I'm not in ghost mode. No, I'm not in ghost mode. So that means that in the most recent update, I probably broke this. And I'm not actually sure what I did. So, nothing's happening here. So clearly something's wrong. I actually thought it was the wooden arrows, but it looks like it's not just the wooden arrows. It's the diverger trading itself. And most likely, I failed to properly update the script to EWP 1.43 syntax. Not to get too technical with you. But hello, by the way, if anyone's here. I can't actually see, but I'm gonna post a message in chat there and see if it shows up. I'm mostly doing this stream to make sure that like the quality works and I have everything set up and I can see chat messages and do all that. But I may as well just also do this development debugging task that I'm trying to figure out. So I need to open the script, and I need to open the script that handles the logic for diverger traders. So give me a moment. I gotta look at that here. Diverger traders arrows. Here we go. Let's open this. We're gonna view edit. Now you should see this in a moment. Sorry, I had to just download the file. There we go. Now we got this guy. Yeah, and I'll embiggen a little bit here so it's more reasonable. All right. There we go. Hey, welcome Zanjistic, welcome. Thanks for confirming that the chat works. That's awesome. You caught me. I'm here. If you want to ask anything, by the way, this is just a super casual thing. I'm not trying to do anything too specific. So if you want to ask any questions, I can just chat. It's all good. What I want to figure out now is what's going on here. Something's wrong. Oh, I already found it. That was easy. Yeah, it's exactly what I thought it was. It's this. Basically, the syntax for expand world prefabs changed. So now a prefab won't poke itself unless you add self true. That's it. So that's all I had to do to make this work. Except I'm going to have to do that to every line in the trading script, which is like maybe 10,000 lines or something. So I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to make the arrows work. That's what I'm going to focus on. Hey, Zanji says, no worries. I enjoyed playing on your Path to the Ashlands server and just thought I'd pop in for a second. Ah, you played on Path to Ashlands. Wow, that was... Things have changed a lot since then, let me tell you. Oh, wow. I'm really excited, actually. You have good timing because I'm starting a new live stream series soon, and it's going to be all about... I'm going to be more inclusive this time. Basically, before, I was just practicing live streaming. I didn't really know how it was going to fit into my schedule, into my YouTube channel. I just wasn't really sure exactly how to go about it. But now, I know exactly what I want to do. And the biggest mistake I made before with my live streaming is that I was just playing and live streaming. That's not what I want to do this time. This time, I want to focus on inviting other people to do things with us on the server in each live stream. So instead of playing a normal Valheim playthrough, I have a playthrough that is all about finding reasons to get other people to join and play with me. So I have a feeling that if I do that in each live stream, so people watch it and they know like, oh, he did that live stream 2 days ago. I can go help work on that project or go prepare for that thing that's happening on Friday. You know, like I want to make the server more accessible to people so they feel like they could join and play this week with us, but they don't have to commit to playing a whole Valheim playthrough or anything like that. And that's my mentality on this upcoming live stream series, but that hasn't started yet. It'll probably be in like a week or two. For now, tomorrow I have that live stream conversation with Dakar, and that's the other part of the YouTube channel. There's going to be these interviews and conversations, except instead of how it was before, where I talk to the person in private, edit the video, and publish it, now all of my conversations will be live streamed. This way, I don't have to edit them. That means that they're immediately available and people can interact with us and ask us questions while it's happening. And I have a feeling that is going to work much better because basically the problem before with the Valheim conversations, they're definitely powerful. I love talking with other Valheim content creators and just people who love this game. It's so empowering to me and also to other people. The problem is I didn't have enough time to do that as much as I wanted because I'd have to do the conversation, right? And that takes like an hour or two. But then I would also edit it, and that would take another like between 2 and 4 or 5 hours, depending on how heavily I edited the conversation. And that was stopping me. It was bottlenecking me. So now, no more of that. I can't procrastinate editing a live stream because it's live, right? So I'll just talk to them, and that's the mentality moving forward. But yeah, that's the update. There's gonna be a bunch of content on the JP Valheim channel. I've basically been experimenting for multiple years, but now I know exactly what I want to do. And I believe that it is my role to activate the Valheim community. I believe that there is a lot we can do to help inspire Iron Gate. That's my new angle. Because I know I've been a little critical of Iron Gate, but don't take that the wrong way because I love Valheim and I love Iron Gate. Like, as I've mentioned before, they could just release Deep North and just F off, and I'd still love them. Even if they never release Deep North. Like, I can notice problems in people, but that doesn't mean I dislike them. It doesn't mean I don't respect them. So, basically, my new mentality is, alright, my role is to motivate and inspire people to work together, and hopefully, if Iron Gate sees what we do and how much we love their game, and as long as we're respectful to them, I don't know, maybe we can help put the pep back in their step. You know what I mean? Zanji says, very cool. Sounds like an expansion of the quest board system. Oh, Zanji, you played in Path to Ashlands. Let me tell you something. Actually, it's easier if I just show you. So that was before I started custom scripting the server. Just so you know. Yeah, I know, you guys can get my IP, whatever, it's fine. So, pretty much, here we are. These, I don't know if you see all these files. These are just the Dverger scripts. Every single one of these is a game-changing mechanic, okay? And these are just related to Dverger. Look what happens if I go up a little bit. Oh, we have summoning scripts, development scripts, quest scripts, player tools, player memorials, notifiers, mechanics. Look at the mechanics. Look at all of these. These are all fundamental reworks to how the game works. So, yes, you played in Path to Ashlands, but even before what I'm telling you now, the server's fundamentally changed. It's still the same world, so you'll still see the same buildings that you saw when you were here on Path to Ashlands, but the mechanics are totally different, all these trades and everything else. So I'll show how the trade works in a moment because I just need to add this and then save the file and then I should be good. So let's see, we need to go under each self-poke, there has to be a self-true. So maybe there's an easier way for me to do this. Prefab arrow wood. Yeah, I think if I just search the whole document for this, I can just do that. And then, oh no, it's also gonna put it here. That won't work. I guess I can just do it the long way, whatever. I'm gonna mess things up if I overcomplicate this while I'm also narrating and describing what I'm doing. So there we go, self-true, scroll down again. Here we go, self-true, Self-true. That's the swamp. Oh, wait. Wait. Nope, that one's good. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going through the script and I'm updating the syntax because the mod that handles all these scripts, Expand World Prefabs, is constantly being updated by Yer. And that's one of the reasons I love Yer so much. Like, if you think Iron Gate doesn't update things frequently enough, just start using Yer's mods. Like, by the time you learn how to do one thing, like, he's gonna have added other features and made it more awesome than you could possibly ever have imagined. So I have, like, so much respect for Yer. He's enabled everything that I do these days. All right, there we go. So now I just finished this, and making this save here should fix the issue. But it's going to kick me off the server, almost certainly. So I just refreshed the file, and that's what's so cool about EWP development. It's live. You can literally be on the server and then make changes to the server, and it'll just update them. I get kicked off the server because I've put so many scripts on the server that it kicks me when I make an update. But normally when you start, it's not like that. Just for reference, I think there's like over like 30,000 lines of scripting on the server now, something like that. It's next level. So now whenever I update a script, it kicks all the players off the server, and I have to wait like 20 seconds. But then when I log back on, in theory, I'll be able to show you the trade and how it actually works. So let's see if that actually happens. We should be able to go log back into the server. I'm so happy with this new computer, by the way. About a week ago, I was up late, a little bit sleepy, and I had a cup of tea, and I fat fingered the tea and spilt it directly into my laptop, right where the vents go into the cooling systems. So that went well. That laptop got completely and utterly fried, and I was kind of sad and overwhelmed by it, because it's not like I have the money to buy a new computer, but I have credit. And I'm one of those people who like has a hard time spending money and justifying it, so I didn't have like a proper computer, despite the fact that I'm trying to make my career about like games and all these things. I hate that word, career. That sounds wrong. Just the way that came off my tongue, I don't like that. But anyway, my point was that now I get to actually use a proper computer, and I can like play in 1080p, and I can live stream because I have fiber internet now. Everything's awesome, and it's so different. Like, I don't know why I got a laptop. I was doing everything up until this point on a laptop. I don't know how I did that, to be honest. Like, now that I'm more comfortable with this computer, like, I have no idea how I was doing that. But all right, we got our rogue here, and now in theory we should be able to toss one feather at him and then get a little message. But it looks like that didn't happen. So maybe there's something else wrong with that script. Let's see. Oh, no. I'm thinking of the feathers, but it's the arrows. That's right. So if we toss an arrow at him, he should tell us something. Yes! Look at that. Haha. Okay, everything's good now. So now basically, he's like, oh, hey, if you give me 100 of those, I'll give you an upgrade. So we're going to give him 100 wood arrows, and then he turns them into 100 flint arrows. And this is a biome-dependent mechanic. So if you find a diverger in the meadows and you give them arrows, you get flint arrows, right? But now let's zoom off a little bit. Let's go somewhere crazy. What about like, I don't know, negative 1,000 and then, I don't know, 4,000. Where's this gonna go? I'm just hoping we're in another biome that's not a meadows. That's really all we need here. Portals. I hate this screen. Not gonna lie, that screen is why I started playing No Map, No Portal. I know that's simple, but for some reason, I used to just stare at that screen and I would just get triggered by it. I don't know why. But now we're in the Black Forest, right? So let's spawn another Diverger here. Spawn Diverger. And now, because we're in the Black Forest, if we... Oh, he became a... That's funny, he became a scrapper. Wow, that was not what I was trying to show off. I'm not gonna go into that rabbit hole right now. There are way too many mechanics for me to start trying to explain everything that happens. Oh, and became a scrapper again? What about this one? Are you gonna become a scrapper, or are you just gonna chill? Nah, you're chill. Okay, cool. So, we should be able to toss any amount of arrows that's not 100. She'll, like, laugh at us and then say, if you give the Diverger 100 arrows, you'll receive 100 bronze arrows, right? So let's see what happens. Let's take our wooden arrows here, and boom. Yeah, nice. All right, we got our bronze arrows. And so, I know this mechanic might seem a little bit weird to you. Why can you give wooden arrows to a Diverger and then just get a free upgrade? Like, you can make loads of wooden arrows, so isn't that a bit, like, game-breaking? I could see why people would feel that way. But personally, I have another angle. If you've ever played much Valheim, you've probably noticed that about half of the arrows in the game are completely ignored by players. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about all of these. One moment here. Debug mode. Boom. All right. Bronze head arrows. These are sometimes used. But think about it. How often have you used bronze arrows, flint head arrows, iron head arrows, and silver arrows? The silver arrows in particular are very rare for players to actually use them because they typically would want to do something else with their silver. Makes sense? But in this situation, what I want to do is make it so most things in Valheim have a use. And I was like, well, I mean, really, if players aren't making these metal arrows anyway, why don't I just let them have them for free when they make normal arrows by tying it to a Diverger? Because this way, I make the player have a reason to interact with the Diverger, right? And this makes the world feel more alive. And you know, honestly, I may as well just show you how Diverger scrappers work because we just happened to find a Diverger fur worker. It's a similar concept to the trader, except the traders are old Diverger. Even these scrappers, like if I wanted to give them some arrows here, spawn arrow wood 100. If I wanted to give them some arrows, for example, did I just wipe those arrows? What happened to them? They're gone. All right, there we go. I got these ones. So if I give him these arrows, or her, she does the same thing. And that's why I don't want to mislead you, because as I mentioned, I think the key to immersion in Valheim, there's a couple things, but one of them is the Diverger. We need more player interaction with the Diverger. We need more fighting with the Diverger. Not like fighting against them, but like being near them and fighting monsters. The player needs to be able to get something from the Diverger. And not just one thing, loads of things. I believe that's really important. It helps the Valheim world feel more alive. So now that I've mentioned this, all right, we got these Diverger traders. You can trade with any Diverger in the game. You can sell your trash items to them and then get coins. And you can use these coins to purchase building materials to build to your heart's content. But what about these scrappers? These are a little bit different because they make very special offers that you cannot get from another trader. Each scrapper has one offer that they specialize in. And there are like 40 different scrappers, and then there's coin traders, and there's over 300 different kinds of coin traders. That's a whole other thing. I'm not going to get into that in this shorter live stream today. So what I want to show you is what happens if we give this guy his black metal scrap. He's asking for 150 black metal scrap, which seems like a lot. And honestly, it probably is a little bit too much, but these guys normally show up in the plains and also in the Mistlands, and there's loads of black metal scrap in the Mistlands on Path of Magic. So that's the context to why they're asking for black metal scrap specifically. They normally show up in areas that have it, not in the Black Forest. You're usually not going to find a black metal scrapper in the Black Forest on Path of Magic or Enigma, typically. So now let's see. Does this even work at all? Oh, definitely. Okay, so apparently I properly updated this script when the latest version of EWP came out, but then I didn't update the Diverger traders. Go figure. So now let's just get all of the things that he needs here. We're going to go with spawn black metal scrap 149. Whoa, I messed that up. Oops. Yeah, they get converted into other things. How should I bypass that? I guess it doesn't really matter. I can just keep doing that. Alright, this is going to be a bit messy. Whoa! I'm actually kind of surprised my client handled all that. Why is the goblin magic happening here? I probably messed that up, but that's okay. For now, we're just trying to collect all this black metal scrap. I'm going to give myself a little bit more strength here. Add status. Belt. Sorry, belt strength. Add status. Fader. Nope. GP fader. There we go. Now we can carry a lot more stuff. And I want to make sure I only have black metal scrap. That's kind of what I'm going for here. As you can see, there's a bunch of other things going on here. And again, I need to make sure I don't get distracted and start babbling to you about all the different features available on Path of Magic, because there's just too many, and I'm going to get distracted from the original purpose. So here we go. Let's remove all this excess. There we go. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're looking for our little scrapper friend. Where'd he go? Over here somewhere. Ah, there we go. I know I could just go into fly and run over there, but I haven't done that. Oh, and of course a coin trader shows up now. I guess I gotta show you coin traders next. But here we go. Oh no, this is the other guy. Yeah, he has a much... she has a much better price. See, she only wants 9 metal scrap for 450 fine wood. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a really good deal to me. Let's see if it works. Boom. 9, 0. Boom. Hey. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked when things work properly. So, as you can see, we found the Diverger scrapper out in the wild, right? And then we fulfilled her offer. And what do we get? We get a bunch of fine wood. And now, I know this is a crazy reward. That's a lot of fine wood for only 9 black metal. But here's the thing. You can't control which Diverger scrappers you find. Make sense? And that's... You see what I'm doing here? There's a lot of, I don't know how to put it. Let's call it evil planning, scheming. Yeah, let's call it scheming. Enigma is basically a scheme to trick you into becoming a builder in Valheim without even realizing it. That's my attitude. All right. Just taking all the scraps. Boom, there we go. The screen shake. Oh, okay, so I did something wrong here. I guess that's good to know. We got a bit of a doubling reward there. Not ideal, but okay. And now you can see why it's so expensive. This isn't just normal Fenring gear. This is empowered Fenring gear. So it's level 24, and the full set has like 80 armor or something, which is comparable to some of the early vanilla armor sets. Wow. Oof. All right. So many different tangents I could go down, different things I could try and explain. But for now, I'm not going to do that. If any of you have any questions, ask away. Even if it's not about this, to be honest. I'm at this point, I can tell. Look at that. 0 dropped frames. I've been streaming in the middle of the day for 30 minutes in 1080. I think it's even in 60 FPS. Things have changed so much. I'm ready. I'm ready. So if we actually look in the chat, we can see that earlier a coin trader with a 12 pack of Hasty Mead base showed up in the Black Forest near Overeager Jarl. That's me. So let's see what's going on here. Let's make it daytime, and I'm going to start flying around like a lunatic here. I'm looking for a special Dverger that just kind of showed up somewhere nearby. I don't know where he is, but I know he's here somewhere. And the reason I want to find the coin traders is because this was the natural progression of the systems I developed. As you saw earlier, I showed the basic trading that old Verger can do. This is how to get a couple birds with one stone. I won't elaborate too much more, but yeah. But after the traders, then I added the scrappers. That black metal scrapper that you just saw there. And then that inspired me so much, I was like, what if I make it so there's so many different options that a player's never gonna find all the different things because they're not gonna play that long? What if I make it so there's more possibilities? Because I have this theory that Valheim is already beautiful enough. It is a wonderful game that honestly wouldn't even need the Deep North. The problems with Valheim aren't the end game biomes. It's something about the world. Something about the temporary nature that things are done. The linear progression. It makes the world that's so beautiful and gorgeous. It just feels hollow over time. And I believe that the reason for that is because of the game design decisions that Iron Gate has made. And it's not just a one or two things, it's actually a whole series of decisions because it's actually their entire philosophy about Valheim. I don't mean, I'm really not trying to disrespect Iron Gate in any way. I love them. But I do believe that their philosophy behind the game is greatly disconnected from what the people who really love Valheim actually feel. Now, I could be wrong about that. Don't get me wrong. But that's my gut feeling. And I'm filling up the space by just talking. So that's just how it is, right? But what I believe is that if we can fill the world up with different things to do and interact, we don't need to add new things to the game. It's all about using the things that are already there in more interesting and meaningful ways. So instead of just me taking forever to do this, let me count. I'm going to find where the diverger is using commands. That way it'll probably be better. Zone max distance equals 1. That's that one from earlier. Oh, maybe this guy is a... Yeah, maybe this coin trader is a mage. Diverger, mage, support? Is he a support mage? No. Is he a fire mage? No. Is he an ice mage? Wait, is it ice or frost? Ah, yeah, he's an ice mage. Okay. So go to negative 1181, 3808. I did see your comments, by the way. I'll read them in a moment. I just want to make sure I find this coin trader wherever he is. Oh, no, that's just a carved shipmaster. That's not the guy I'm looking for. Yet another... This is a quest giver. Like, this stream just keeps throwing things at me to over-explain, so I'm not going to do that. For now, I'll take a moment and I'll look at your comments. So let's see. Zanji says, I really like finding uses for underused resources. An empowered Fenring gear would definitely incentivize me. I've also used Armory and Warfare by Therzy for that purpose, which has worked well. Oh, that I've heard great things about that mod. I've never tried it myself, but I've spoken to enough people that absolutely love it that I know that it's good stuff, right? Definitely good stuff. Hello, Conshonery. Welcome. It's good to see you again. I love seeing all you familiar faces, you beautiful people. Khan says, I agree with your sentiment about Iron Gate being a bit disconnected in their goals. I love them too, but nobody's perfect. Yeah, and honestly, that's totally fine. I don't expect Iron Gate to be perfect. I don't expect them to do things right, you know? It's just kind of sad that we live in an era where, like, honestly, most people, it's not even just a Valheim thing, most people aren't able to handle any kind of criticism. And I've noticed that by the way people react to me. Like I've been making Valheim content for multiple years, playing Valheim very regularly and diligently. And, like, I love the community and hanging out with them and interacting with them. And, like, I want Valheim to be more popular, but, like, I'm very passionate about this game. I care a lot about it. Like, genuinely, I do. So it's always funny to me when people, like, hear me say one critical thing about Iron Gate, and then they're like, they treat me like I'm just making that up, and I have absolutely no reason to feel that way. And it's like, yeah, it's not like I've been doing this for a couple years and I've made observations in that time or anything. You know what I mean? But my point is just that people, they're not really able to converse about things they disagree with. And I think this is a big problem because if you want to learn, you have to be able to converse with people you don't agree with. And especially as a game developer, your player base is never going to all agree about anything. And just, like, if you're trying to get them to all agree, you're literally trying to do something that's impossible. It's a huge waste of time. And from my perspective, Iron Gate, like, they pay too much attention to people. They're like too scared of what their players say and think. And, like, if you look at them in interviews, they talk about the negative comments and stuff, and you can tell, like, they pay attention to them. And I'm like, no! Why are you paying attention to Redditors who don't even play Valheim anymore? You're paying attention to them instead of the people who play your game every day of their lives for years. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? But that's the end of that little rant, because I found the coin trader I was looking for. And now I want to give you a little bit of a history with these coin traders. I'm very excited about the coin traders. I'm not going to lie. I have a feeling that if I play my cards right and show people how these work over time, they're really going to help make Valheim last longer, because you just kind of find them out in the wild, and they don't just have normal items. This one does. But there's loads of crazy mind-blowing stuff that you can get from coin traders. And I might show some of it off. It depends how I feel, how the stream goes. But before I start trading with this coin trader, I want to tell you a little bit about the history of them. Because as I showed earlier, I believe the Diverger are a huge part of this problem that we're tackling. And by giving players the ability to turn their trash items into the Diverger, not only do we clear trash items, but we also make the Diverger themselves feel more practical and immersive and meaningful, right? But it doesn't end there. If you want to make something last, you can't just do one thing, you have to do loads, right? And so after making the traders, I was like, oh, it'd be pretty cool if certain traders had special offers, because then you have a motive to explore so that you can find different traders and see their different offers, right? And that, I think, is something I want to really lean into. So that's why I started working on the coin trader system. There's another rant I need to go on about coins and how important they are, and I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm just going to ignore the fact that they trade coins and not explain why that's so important and all the other things that you can do with coins on Path of Magic. We're not going to worry about that. For now, here's a coin trader. Got a pile of coins. Make the coins. He's like, hey, yo, thanks for the coins. Now I want... Oh, yeah, something weird happened there. His number went all crazy, but that's okay. So we made the pile. What happened? Oh, yeah, he teleported. Where'd he go? Yeah, he's fighting that troll over there. Ugh, alright. These mages are so destructive. Honestly, that's actually one of the reasons I put them in, because I love seeing the mages fight. They're just so powerful and overwhelming that it's just really fun and amusing. And the coin traders are basically invincible. I'll show you what happens if I try and kill this coin trader in God mode. But for now, let's complete them. Boom, look at that. We give them their coins, and then we have this little thing here. Let's clear it up. And then after we give them their coins and satisfy them, what do we get? Look at that. There's a little chest here. And then if we open it up, boom, a 12-pack of hasty mead bases. Pretty niche, right? But believe it or not, this is one of over 340 different kinds of coin traders that you can find. And don't worry, they're not all just mead-based merchants. That's just one of the things that they sell. There's even custom mounts. There's a swimming Askfin that is absolutely my favorite reward in the entire server at the moment. It totally changes the meta of sailing and traveling and exploring and fighting, and I love it. But maybe that's because I played a hunter in World of Warcraft. I'll get into what I mean by that later on when I show you what I'm talking about. Hey, Fire! What's up? Good to see you. I love all these familiar names. I hope you all can make it to the thing tomorrow. I'm so excited about the live stream with Dakar tomorrow. That's why I'm doing this. I want to make damn sure everything works fine. And I've done everything I can to make sure I am at my best, because that's going to be really fun. I love speaking with Dakar. He's incredibly knowledgeable. And if you've ever watched him work, it's fucking mind-blowing. Like, if you think I do crazy stuff, imagine seeing me do crazy stuff at a pace of like 6x speed or 6 times the speed. He moves so fast. It is insane. He can start with like a blank void and within like 2 minutes have a huge detailed structure. It's like, what on earth? Like it's insane how quick he moves. So I'm really excited for that. That's going to be fun. And don't worry if you miss it, because it's, you know, it's going to be available to watch and everything, but it's better to participate live because you can ask us questions in the chat and I'll watch the chat and make sure that everything's going. Yeah, exactly, right? Him and 9byte and the others who worked on it, the fact that they made the RPG map and they didn't even use Expand World prefabs, whew. That's why I'm saying, just wait until you see Heimdivers. Dakar showed me a lot of Heimdivers, and I already know people, like, I've been trying to get Dakar to talk about it for ages because it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible what he's working on. And it's not even like, you don't even need to play it to feel it's incredible. You can just watch him work on it and see, like, a couple months ago, he screen shared with me, and we just chatted, and he showed me what he was doing, and I was like, dude, you gotta show this to people. Why are you developing this in private? You realize people would watch you do this? Like, and so, not gonna lie, I have some motives there. What's it called? Hidden intention? Not hidden intention. A conflict of interest? I don't know. But basically, I know people are gonna love what Dakar has to show off. So I want to do everything possible to encourage him to show things off. Because something I've noticed is that people, they wait until they're finished to start showing things to people. And you don't need to do that. It's actually better to get people involved with the creation process the whole time, so that then when it launches, there's momentum and they know what to expect. There's no way they're going to be disappointed because they've been involved with the process and know exactly what you're doing. So it's not an expectation making them excited, it's reality. Crazy, right? Ulterior motive and hidden agenda. Exactly. That's it. Those are both the phrases that were escaping me. So let's see now. Is there anything anyone wants to like see or discuss or find out? Because mostly I wanted to test things, and I can already tell the stream's fine. I can see your guys' messages. I think you can hear me okay. I don't have a single dropped frame, even though I've been doing 1080, 60 frames. How's the quality from your end? Is it all right? Like, is it working? I've just been looking at my little, I got like a second monitor set up here, and I've just been looking at it, and it looks like it's fine. Let's see, we had, I actually noticed, there's an error. I need to log that error, because I don't know if you noticed, but when I traded with the coin trader, he originally wanted 12 coin piles, and then it became 1. Unless I'd hallucinated 12 and it was actually 2. But I'm pretty sure that was an error. So I need to check Diverger, coin, trader, initial amount starter. Alright, I don't have to be super specific, but hey, that's awesome. So everything's great. Wow, that is so weird. I don't know if you guys watched my streams from before. But, like, I literally had to, oh my god. Okay, story time. This is what I'm gonna do. First, I'm gonna go back to the center of the world, and I'm gonna keep some movement going so I can just walk and talk. And I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you how I suffered. So, let's see. This is the center of the world. We're on the main path. Let's just... Should I clear up the rain? I guess it's fine. I don't always need to have environment clear on. What I do need, though, is... There we go. Nice views. Here we go. Story time. So, I live in Nicaragua. And in Nicaragua, it's harder to get good internet. At least that's what I believed, right? And yeah, whatever. It's true that it is a bit harder, but it's not impossible. My point is that when I started trying to live stream earlier on in this year, basically during business hours, it was impossible. I'm not even exaggerating. The moment I think it was 7 a.m. hit, or maybe it was even 6 a.m., the internet upload rate would completely get wrecked. So like I hadn't noticed it in my normal consumer usage of the internet, because I would just watch YouTube videos and maybe they lag a little bit, but it's not like the internet stopped working. But when I was live streaming, I literally couldn't do it. And then I noticed that, like, okay, I can wake up early to do the live stream, and then the internet works. But I would have to wake up at like 3 a.m. It was exhausting. Like, and I did it. I did it for like a month or something. And I was just like, nah, F this. I'm done. Like, it just wasn't, like, all of that was happening, and I still wasn't able to output like a quality stream. I did everything I possibly could, and I had to downgrade the bitrate. I had to operate at like 720, 23 FPS, and it was super blurry. Sometimes it would just completely stop working. The stream would get all messed up, and it was so bad, even my audio would chop up. You know? Crazy. See you, Zan. I hope you have a lovely day. Thanks for stopping by again, by the way. I am always tickled when people come back from Path to Ashlands, because it's kind of like that's been my greatest dream, basically, is like to have a Valheim server that's kind of like RuneScape, where people leave, they leave their mark on the server, then they like leave, go do other things, and then they come back someday and they see what other people have done and they visit again and they explore to see what's new. And then they stop and they leave. And then they come back later. You know, that's been my dream. That's what I want to make. That's what I'm trying to crack. The problem I'm trying to figure out. So whenever anyone comes back from Path to Ashlands, it's so awesome, really. It means a lot that people even remember that Path to Ashlands was a thing. I mean, really, it's quite an honor to have met so many people and to be able to do what I've always dreamed about. I've wanted to work on game development my entire life. I won't go into the details, but I don't mean just like casually in passing. Like, I moved countries to enable this. I left everything I knew. I left the culture I knew, the language I knew, the people. I left all of it because I knew it was impossible. The chance of me being able to make a video game and support myself full time while I'm working on it in the United States, that was never going to happen. That was a pipe dream. Whereas here in Nicaragua, my whole life is $1,000 a month. And not just a normal life. A life where I have my own house, a yard, a garden, chickens and hens. I can eat healthy food. I buy things from people who grow it themselves. It's the perfect environment. And if you've ever wondered how it is I'm able to function this way, how I'm able to keep going, despite the fact that, yeah, I earn like $100 to $200 a month from YouTube, from all my Valheim work. If you boil that down to hourly, you're talking pennies. Like, I'm not earning money. Not yet. Maybe in the future I will, but it's been pennies an hour, right? It's a passion thing. But my point is that even that being said, I've been able to work on this full time because I live in Nicaragua. I left the US. I left that expensive world because I knew if I want to develop video games, I need to have as many advantages over everybody else because it's so competitive. Everyone wants to develop video games these days, especially if you're like a guy. Like, holy crap, there's millions and millions and millions of men who would love nothing more than to just develop video games for a living. I would say that it went from a niche desire to one of... Okay, maybe I'm full of crap, but I believe that in the 2020s, children born dream of becoming a video game developer in the same way that kids in the 70s dreamed about becoming astronauts. I could be wrong, but to me, it's that big. It's that huge of a cultural shift. And I believe that gaming has a lot more that it's going to evolve into. And what we've seen so far is nothing. Really. We've just seen companies try and make money off of games. We haven't really seen people try and change culture, change society through games. And that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in these abstract, long-term kind of deals, right? Hello, teens! Welcome, welcome! Oh, speaking of people from Path to Ashlands, I'll give Teens a shout-out because, Teens has been here from the very beginning. And I want to thank you, Teens, because your support has been so consistent. And I'm not talking about the Patreon stuff. That's very helpful. I love that you support me on Patreon. I really appreciate that. But what really means a lot to me is the consistency with which you've supported the server and the way that when new players join, you like talk to them and help them out. And like, I'm not gonna lie, I've literally seen you interact with people in a way that has brought tears to my eyes because I know that I can't do that. I can't be on the server all the time giving people tours and showing them off and showing them things because I have to develop. This is what I can do. This is how I can make this an incredible special experience, right? So it means a lot. And anyway, I just wanted to give teens that shout out. Loads of respect, teens. Thank you so much for all your support over the years. Isn't that crazy? Over the years. Can I say that? It's been a while. I mean, Path to Ashlands was like a year and a half ago, right? Absolutely crazy. Let's see. So what was I getting at? Yeah. So let me get back on track with that story there. I was talking about how back when oh, what's going on here? That looks bad. Huh. I wonder what happens to the rest of this, Oh, it just didn't load. Okay. I was like, oh no. Why is that completely gone? All right, that's fine. That makes sense actually. I was surprised how well my internet's working now that I'm streaming in like full 1080 and everything. Cuz while it's true I have fiber. Ah, I see. Something's been replaced here. Yeah, maybe Left After did something. Left After is the only admin on Palm at the moment, actually. But he helps manage the paths and clear things and deals with like some of the players' requests when things go wrong. So thanks also to Left Af. He's one of the people who's really supported the server and also is very like a patient and genuine guy. One of the reasons I made Left an admin was because at one point I got snappy. I got pissed at people. Like they were giving me too much feedback I didn't need to hear about at that moment. And I like grouped him in with some others and I like scolded all of them, got really mad. And Left handled it like a champ. He didn't fight back with me. He was understanding. And like I always notice that when somebody has reason, like it would have been fair for him to be angry at me or something because I like lashed out at him basically. And it would have been fair for him to like fight with me over it, but he didn't. He was understanding. And I always pay attention when I see people handle conflict effectively because that is one of the most valuable traits in any kind of community member. Because as I mentioned earlier on in the stream, the problem with people these days is their lack of ability to deal with each other. People just can't tolerate other opinions in a world where everyone has other opinions. You realize we doom ourselves to suffer by not being able to tolerate one another like that. It's a bad state that most people are in. But yeah, Left's the other admin. Awesome guy. Does good stuff. He's even got a custom quest on the server if anyone wants to learn more about that. But for now, I'll just finish up the rest of this little story about live streaming. As you saw, as I mentioned, it was a struggle. And so basically my conclusion, because when I started earlier on in the year, I was trying to stream. And I thought maybe I could stream because I was having a lot of fun and I saw how it activated the server, right? But there were so many problems. Like I couldn't do it. People couldn't watch the stream because like you know what I mean? Like you just can't hear. I mean it's one thing if the video's a little bit choppy, but if the audio's choppy, like it's impossible. And I had to, after doing everything I could, and I had been waking up for 3 a.m. and it really messed up my life, to be honest. I was exhausted all the time. I was unhappy. I felt burned out. And I was like, I'm like practicing live streaming. I'm not even making money from this. I'm not even like that popular of a live streamer. Why am I doing this, right? That's how I felt. So ultimately I realized like I just have to accept I can't live stream. Because at the time, there wasn't fiber available. But that changed. Everything changed. Life is a funny way of doing that, you know? I'm not gonna say that I've had an incredibly easy life. But also, I definitely haven't had an incredibly hard life. That being said, every single one of my deepest, darkest fears has come true. My father died when I was a child. I became chronically ill. My mom got breast cancer. She survived. She got involved with a man who hated me. And to this day, like, we can't really have, like, I have a close relationship with my mom, but like, the man in her life is literally yeah, he thinks I'm a bad person. Like, really, he genuinely thinks I'm an asshole, and that's been a problem. So I left pretty young. I was like 16 when I left, and I've been living outside of family ever since. I lived in trap houses. I saw people get fucked up with drugs. People I knew killed themselves. Like, I've seen shit, okay? My point is that life has a way of working out when it's time. And people have a way of feeling like that time is now when it's not. And that's what was going on with me with the Valheim channel itself. The JP Valheim channel, up until this point, it was largely just me experimenting and figuring out what I want to do. And, like, ultimately, there were other things in my life that made it so that there was no way I was going to be able to make things work. I had other priorities. I had other things going on. It was just impossible. I was very distracted. So ultimately, the time wasn't right. If I'm being real, that's just how it was. But did you see those boats? Oh my god, I'm sorry. I got distracted by that. I guess I gotta go fix that car before it dies here. But my point is that now, yeah, look at that. It's activating its self-defense here. Let's fix this real quick. Oop. Say lip. Oh, no. Nope. 1 second. Say lip. Yay! There we go. All fixed. Alright, everyone's good. So these are actually, I guess I can show this off a little bit. These are tunes. If you have been curious why they were making a bunch of wisps like that, it's because they are actually quest boats. So they're way, way faster than the normal carve, but I'm actually not going to mess those up right now. I don't want to damage them because the player might come back and want it to be there. So there we go. We're just going to get out of the way. All right. What was I saying? I was talking about deep, dark stuff, life, timing. Ah, yeah, timing. And what I was trying to get at is that I needed to mess around for years. I needed to make loads of content. I needed to make mistakes. I needed to live stream and see I couldn't do it. I needed to have all of those experiences. And I know I've been talking about this more recently, but I needed to stop putting Iron Gate on a pedestal. I needed to stop idolizing them. They're people. They're not gods. They're not superheroes. And I used to believe that Iron Gate was this amazing, incredible company that had figured everything out and wasn't affected by corporate greed. And I see that I was delusional. Like, let's be real, I was delusional. I'm not happy about that. You know, I'd rather be in a situation where it was different. I wish I could tell you that I have full faith in Iron Gate's ability to bring people back to Valheim. But I don't. That's the cold, harsh truth. I used to. But the more I watched them in interviews, it went away. And that's the sad part. It wasn't playing Valheim. It was listening to the actual people who made the game speak about it. And I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope that Deep North comes out and it's great and it reactivates the game, and not just reactivates the game, but the people who come back, they stay. I really hope that happens. I just don't believe it anymore. And so let me explain why. What happened? How did that happen to me? It's all about Ashlands. And it's related to all this. I'm not just randomly ranting about Iron Gate. I ran a server called Path to Ashlands. And it was before Expand World prefabs. It was before the scripting. It was before all this. It was back when I really believed in I believed that Iron Gate was doing everything that they could to make Valheim the best game that it can be. And I thought that when Ashlands came out, I thought that people would come back. And I thought they would stay. Now, personally, I love Ashlands. I think it's an incredible biome. It's beautiful. The weapons are amazing. The enemies are cool. The variety, the animations, the color, the ambiance, the music. It's all awesome. It's incredible, but it doesn't matter. And that's the lesson. That's what I learned. I was running this Path to Ashlands server. And at first the server was really popular. When I first launched it, it was full. Like, I literally had to stop making videos about it because too many people were joining. And I thought that was bad. I didn't realize that that's actually what you want. You want there to be more than 10 people interested in playing. And you want there to be people who want to play but can't because the server's full at the moment. I know that sounds fucked up, but I know the truth now. People, they want what they can't have. But that's another tangent. That's not the main point I'm trying to make here. My main point is that when I launched the Path to Ashlands server, it was most popular in the very beginning. And then I wouldn't say that it was an unpopular or a dead server after that. After that initial crowd of people left, it was still an active server, don't get me wrong. As far as Valheim servers goes, I mean, it's been an active server. It's not hugely active. It's not like, 10 people log on every day. But for the past year and a half, almost every single day of this server's existence, at least one person has logged in. I can count the days where nobody logged in on one or two hands. And here's the disturbing part. This is where I learned what I believe is the truth. Path to Ashlands died when Ashlands came out. Now, you may say, hey, no, Jack, it's because your world is no map, no portal, so it's just too intense for people to like Ashlands. And you know what? You're right. You are absolutely right. Believe it or not, there was no path before like this. There was no path that went all the way to the Ashlands, because I, along with other people, felt that that would break the game. Being able to just walk to the Ashlands. But then Ashlands came out, and the server died within a week. Maybe 2 weeks. And of course, the server never truly died. Don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously, I'm still on the same server today. People like Teens and Star, they've been logging in. They still participate. It's not like they completely stopped playing. But like I said, I can count on two hands the days that were empty, and one of those hands was when Ashlands came out. And it wasn't just immediately. It was after people got there. And I don't mean to be all serious, but I want to be wrong about all this. I really do. I hope I'm completely wrong. But as far as I know, Ashlands and Deep North and the endgame biomes have absolutely nothing to do with why people don't play Valheim. And I know a lot of people out there have this notion that Deep North is going to come out and then these players are going to come back because they've just been waiting for the game to be finished so that they can actually, you play it for real, and everything's going to be great and it's going to be awesome. And then there's going to be new players, and then there's going to be Valheim 1.0, and then there's going to be more players, and then... Look, it's not going to happen. Deep North will get launched. There will be a large influx of people at first. But it's not going to change the reasons people don't play Valheim. It's not going to make Valheim a relevant game to the masses. And again, I hope I'm wrong. I mean, think of the position I'm in. It would be much better for me. Ooh, wow, someone made this nice. This used to be a janky staircase. Now it looks nice. Good job. That was a good change of pace there. I needed a little calming down. But what I was getting at is that the reasons people are unsatisfied with Valheim and lose their interest have absolutely nothing to do with the fact that those biomes aren't out yet. And this is where I'll wrap back to an earlier point. Unfortunately, Iron Gate is incredibly... Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating. I won't say incredibly. They have a disconnection problem with the reality of how people play their game. And to Iron Gate, Valheim is a temporary game played like a board game that you play with people you already know. They have a lot of beliefs about what should be or shouldn't be in the game. They believe that this is an important part of why people like Valheim. They believe that inventory management is an important part of the Valheim gameplay loop. And there are other things that they believe as well, and I don't understand why they feel these things. I don't know why these things are so important to them. But they have this notion that the problem with Valheim is that it's unfinished biomes, that there's a Deep North that's not done, that there's an Ashlands that's not done. That's not true. That's not the problem with Valheim. They could have just gotten rid of those two biomes. It wouldn't have changed much, to be honest. I'm pretty sure the same kinds of people would still be playing Valheim today. So, and again, I know I'm being critical, and I'm not angry at them. I hope I'm wrong. I just want you all to understand, I learned these things from running these servers and seeing how players responded to the Ashlands. While I personally felt like the Ashlands is one of the coolest things I've ever seen Iron Gate do. For me, the Ashlands is amazing. They took some things out of the charred forts and they could be better, but so what? I know that, yeah, it's not all perfect, but it's awesome. I loved the Ashlands. I loved that they added this gem weapon system and all these different effects and all these different weapons. It's so fucking cool. And all the build pieces and the Growston and the different styles and how that's influenced the building culture. It's all awesome. But it didn't matter. It really didn't matter. And I'll show you analytically how I know that in a second. But for now, I see a couple people have joined. So let's see. All right. All right, so let's see. We have Teens, Monster Lord, Balrond. Oh, Balrond, what's up? Good to see you. Does my screen? Yeah, so my screen probably looks weird because I did this. I set the environment and I set it to Ash Rain, so I'll just clear it. There you go. It'll look normal now. That's why it's looking all weird, Teens. But let's see. So one second, I gotta look at this chat real quick. How do I get my icon to show up? Ah, there we go. Okay, so here we go. Let me read the conversation you guys said. All right, Fire said, mistakes help us grow. Exactly. It's impossible without it. Then that has to hit hard when it's a company you look up to that lets you down like that. I hope Valheim takes off again, and I feel like it does have a chance with 1.0, but yeah, we're on the same page, man. And then Teen says, Deep North will do all that you say, but because of the modding community. Hey, maybe. It could be. Definitely could be. I believe it'll be modded Valheim, or Fire says, I believe it'll be modded Valheim that really brings the attention. Yeah, me too, man, me too. And then Balrond joined in, said hello, everyone's saying hello, awesome. Awesome, awesome, okay, quote up. So, and then Fire says towards the end there, and Balrond said, not angry, just disappointed. Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I don't even know if I'm not even disappointed in Iron Gate. I don't expect anything from them anymore. And obviously that makes me sad. Right? Because it's easier to expect that the game company you love is gonna make updates to the game that you love. But from what I can tell, it's kind of a slog for them and they're trying to get it over with. That's what it seemed. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just looked at them in the wrong interviews. They were just grumpy that day or something. But, I mean, they shared stories about the culture and how it feels. Like, I mean, there's interviews with them where they say the only time it was exciting was when they made the bat. And then that excitement was never there again. They said that. Why did they say that? Why? I can't ignore those things, you know? Fire says, I think we had this conversation recently. In the same way that Minecraft is kept alive by the modding community, I believe Valheim could do the same. Yeah, really. Okay, let me show you. Let me show you something. I'm gonna pull up some analytics here, and before I do that, let me read Balrond's comment. And Alan says, fingers crossed. Yes, fingers crossed, exactly. And then Balrond says, 1.0 will be the chance to get players, back the players, and prove something different. Yes, exactly. And so let me be clear. I agree that 1.0 in Deep North will bring players back. The thing that I doubt is whether those returning players will retain. I don't think they will. I honestly don't think they will. Because again, the real problems haven't been fixed, and it doesn't seem like Iron Gate even acknowledges that those things are real problems. When they bring the things I perceive up, I've heard them talk about them, it's a no. They're not going to rework the networking, you know? They're not going to do these things. The only thing I know that they've said that they might do, which would be awesome, is add a Steam Workshop. Oh, that would be so awesome. I would love it if they added the Steam Workshop. But who knows? But then Balrond said, I mean, look at Skyrim. It's a buggy pile, but the mods made the game worth playing even today. Oh, yeah, and you know, the modding community there is also awesome. And I think, you know, people get the modding scene in that game confused. You know, there's this notion that Iron Gate supports modding, but they haven't really done that much to support modding. It's more that they haven't gone out of their way to stop it. But like, we can mod Valheim with BEP and X. That's not Iron Gate, guys. Like, let's be real. Like, they made a Unity game, and that's why why it's easier to mod, because they didn't try and stop people once they started modding the game. And you know, they haven't taken a critical stance towards modding, but people throw around this notion that Iron Gate is supportive of modders. And like, have you actually talked to modders about how they were treated in Valheim's like official Discord by people? Have you like seen how players who love vanilla treat modders? Like, what are we smoking? Like, no offense, but I think people are a little bit out of touch with how friendly Iron Gate actually is to the modding scene. Like, I could be wrong, like I said, but you know, and that's why for me, there is one thing I think they will actually do, and then that will like negate the things I just told you, and that's adding Steam Workshop. If they do that after 1.0 comes out, I will tolerate anything else they ever do. Because if they add Steam Workshop, that's them saying, look, we're done. Now it's your turn. And then that's them making it official, right? So I would respect if they did that. I don't know if they're going to. I'm not saying they won't. I'm not saying they will. That's just my opinion on it, right? And so Baueron said, I mean, as far as I know, they can't accept mods, but they can't deny it also due to their contract with the publisher. Yeah, I think you're right about that. I've also heard that they aren't allowed to like install mods themselves because of like liability concerns that I don't know exactly how that works, to be honest. I don't know if like legally, if you can prove that a developer installed your mod and then put that in the game and you can like sue them or something. Like I've never heard of that happening, honestly, but maybe it is a thing. I don't know. I give them the benefit of the doubt and just assume they have a contractual obligation to avoid mods, but I don't really understand it, to be honest. And that's one of the reasons I'm excited about this, because technically, if they can join a server and they don't have to install any mods on their client, I mean, they could join this server, right? They're not violating their contract, are they? They didn't install any mods. I don't know how that works, you know what I mean? Like, can they join a server that has mods as long as they use a purely vanilla Valheim client? I don't know, right? And the Monster Lord says that Iron Gate did say that they plan to support mods in the future, after or with the release of 1.0. Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, I'm not saying they're not going to do it. Definitely, I'm not confident one way or the other. I'm not confident they won't. I'm not confident they will. I would err on the side of they will, like you're saying. I think that they do actually recognize at the end of the day that if they don't put the reins in the modding community's hands when they're done, this game's done. Like, its future is limited, greatly hindered, right? I think they understand that, like, genuinely. And not in, like, an egotistical or prideful way, you know? But my point, basically, is that I think they will. But I don't know. And, like, let's be real, after Ashlands, they told us they were going to be more transparent. They told us they were going to share more things with us with the Deep North. They told us that Ashlands was like a secret teaser thing, and they were keeping a lot of it to themselves. No offense, but it's the same. We don't know what's in the Deep North. We've gotten trailers made by people who are great animators and stuff, right? And we've gotten some gameplay footage, but like, this isn't transparency, let's be real. They're not live streaming their development. They're not showing us their problems that they're facing. They're not doing that. Like, and okay, this is the last point where I'll criticize Iron Gate directly in this stream. But they broke my heart by not participating in Volcon. I'll say it. I lost respect for them. It's not about me. It's about the fact that hundreds of the most dedicated people in their community came together to show their love of the game. The composer showed up. And I respect him for that. But like, come on. What is that? What kind of nonsense is that? They told the Valcon team that if it goes well, next year they might do something. Like, what the fuck is that about? How can they be so disconnected? How can they not even show their face in an interview? Like, what is wrong with them? And I realized earlier that I felt this way, and I'd never really noticed. You know, and maybe you're right. Maybe there is something putting a strain on them. You know what I mean? Like, I hope so. I really do. I want to believe that maybe they're just under some chain or something, but that's not what my gut says. You know? Because if that was true, why didn't they just show up to Valcon? They didn't have to tell us what they're working on. If I interviewed anyone in Iron Gate, I wouldn't give a shit about asking them about problems. I would just want to ask them about their lives, about how they feel, about how it went, about how things have gone for them, about what it was like for them, about what they've learned. Like, that's all I'd want to talk to them about. I wouldn't want to share any of my criticisms or how I feel or any of my anger. I wouldn't care. But where are they? You know? And I think you're right, Val. I think you're right. So Balron's saying that it's all probably related to legal cases with the publisher and everything. And like, yeah, I mean, even if you're right, it doesn't matter. Like, I have met enough Valheim players and Valheim community people to know that this is a big problem. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm gonna tell Iron Gate. I'm talking about like from my own purpose. I want to be a game developer. I want to develop video games. That's my dream, so to speak. That's what everything's leaning towards. And even this, one of the reasons I do these things is because I'm networking so that I can be in the know, well connected with programmers and gamers and game designers. Because I know that life is all about networking, and if I know the right people, I'll be able to make incredible games. And it's from that mentality that I see that there's a huge problem with the lack. It's like Valheim, Iron Gate doesn't have a face to the game, which is very tragic because it's an indie game. Indie games normally have a face. They have a personality who's like kind of out there. And again, maybe this is the personality traits of Jay Smars. You know, it could be. And again, he's the original mind behind it. It started from Tolroko and evolved from there. Mad respect for the guy. He, like the engine that creates this beautiful world, mad respect. But also I sense that probably he wasn't ready. And I can't blame him. I can't blame him. Because I've been in that situation. Nowhere near what they went through. I didn't have millions of people downloading a game and then also getting a bunch of money from it. I didn't have that. But what I had is a large YouTuber 3 times the size of me go against me after a partnership and then start talking mad shit. And he would make videos shit-talking me, and every day I woke up, there were people spamming my videos and my content, hating me, saying I'm a bad person, saying I've lied to them, telling me horrible things that just aren't true, that they think about me because some idiot is a piece of shit and makes videos, right? I went through that, and I will tell you, it is incredibly traumatizing. You may think that to have your game suddenly get really popular is a great, amazing thing, But I can tell you now that I know for certain, based on the way they talk about negative criticism and comments, that most of the people in Iron Gate were not ready for that. Absolutely not ready for that. And I have a feeling that's what it all boils down to. There's a fear of putting themselves out there. And you could be right. You could be right that it's just a contract thing. And again, I do hope it is. This whole chunk just hasn't... What's going on here? There we go. I hope it's a contract thing. But I think it's more about the lead behind Valheim and that he feels insecure. That's just a guess, obviously. I've never talked to him. But the fact that we don't see him showing his face in interviews, the fact that he isn't regularly updating us about what's going on, yes, it's I'd say it's one of the other. It's either they're contractually blocked from doing this, which is, again, a huge issue, or they got in over their heads and they're really not, they weren't ready for it. But again, I don't know. And like, maybe I'll speak to Iron Gate someday. Like I said, I mean, I'm definitely open to it. I would love to talk to them. And I'm not like people who want to tell them criticisms. It's not my place to tell them what to do with their game. I don't give a shit about the criticisms I'm talking to you about towards Iron Gate. Like, to their face, there's no point in me saying these things, because it's not... Like, if they were able to talk to me in a video and be willing to publish it, I mean, that kind of proves everything I'm saying wrong, right? Like, so I don't think I'd be able to have that experience and also feel the way I do, right? So I understand that part of the reason I feel this way is because I haven't talked to Iron Gate directly. I don't have a relationship with them. I've never... I mean, I remember sending one of them a message, a quick question about Ashlands at some point a while ago, and they did respond. So that was good. But that's it. That's the extent of my interaction with them. So let's see. I'll read some of your comments now. I've been ranting a little bit emotionally here. Let's see. So, Fire says, yeah, I imagine the entire relationship is complicated between Iron Gate, Coffee Stain, and whoever owns Coffee Stain. Yeah, and honestly, that's kind of the issue, right? If that's true, this isn't an indie game. You see what I'm saying? But like, people know Valheim as an indie game. If the publisher is blocking the developers from interacting with the community, it is not an indie game. I don't care how many people work at it. Just because it's a small team doesn't make it indie. Indie means independent. What does the word again stand for? Holy shit. Like, I just think people, sometimes they cope too much, you know? And Bauron says, don't sell your soul to a publisher. Yeah, right? And I guess, what's the story with that, right? Did Iron Gate... Is Valheim popular in early access because of the publisher? I don't know, actually, about the history. I don't know how that works. But I think you guys are onto something. I definitely... If I ever get a chance, I'll sleuth this out. I'll talk to some people and figure out if I can learn more about their relationship with Coffee Stain. To be honest, though, I'm under the impression it's not the way you guys are saying, because there are other games that Coffee Stain has published that don't have the same issues. Okay, I'm speaking from hearsay when I say that. I haven't played all of these other games, but I have heard, or at least people have told me, that the issues with Valheim regarding this kind of stuff aren't necessarily present with all the other games that Coffee Stain does, right? So like, you know, I don't know, but I'm glad that you guys are talking about this, because it's a great point. Like, I'm assuming that they're free to do what they want with their game because I view it as an indie game, so they can do what they want. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone's stopping them. You know, you could be completely right. It's totally possible. Totally possible. So I'm glad that you guys have told me that, because I didn't really think about that before. So let's see. And then Balron said, yeah, that's the biggest trouble. And the story with YouTube, that sounds what I've been through as well. Yeah, Bal, I mean, I can tell with interacting with you, man. Like, you got that passion. You love what you're doing. Like, it's good stuff. I have a lot of respect for you, and I don't know if you pissed someone off or said something or whatever, but I have a lot of respect for you. Even if you were to do something like that, I would give you the benefit of the doubt. So I would imagine, yeah, it is probably similar, you know? Somebody did something and then people were talking shit and maybe you needed a break or something, right? So I feel you. Yeah, I definitely feel you there. So let's see. Then Fire says, imagine hating on JP. You're so wholesome and kind-hearted. Yeah, well, yeah, I know that I am, like, wholesome, but, like, back then, basically, I got started on YouTube being a drop shipper. Okay? And drop shippers make things more expensive for people. It's not an ethical business model. So eventually, like, I left. I realized that, and I didn't want to do it anymore and these things, right? But I didn't realize the kind of scene I was getting involved with at the time. And the guy who betrayed me, so to speak, and, like, I don't dislike this guy. Let me be clear. I'm in Nicaragua because of this. I wouldn't be in Nicaragua if it wasn't for all these things. I came here because of dropshipping. I didn't know anything about Valheim when I came to Nicaragua. And I knew that I wanted a different life, but if I'm real, dropshipping is what allowed me to quit my job at Starbucks and move to Nicaragua. That's what did it. And people who dropship are usually just trying to make money. They don't give a shit. So I was around a lot of those people, and I didn't really understand that. The Enigma path, it's here? Wow, what are the chances? That's pretty funny. We just happened to go under an uncompleted part of the Enigma path. But yeah, I was around these dropshipping crew, and, like, basically I got invited to this networking event in Nicaragua called Brine Camp, where for 30 days, 30 people who all earn money on a computer live together to see what happens. And that event changed my life, not in the ways you'd expect. It showed me that rich people are fucked, that people with money have no less problems than the poor. And if anything, you have to be very careful when you get money, because it allows you to spread your problems out and distract yourself even more easily. And I've looked into the eyes of people who earn $100,000 a month in a low month. I mean, I've met people who earn stupid money. I can tell you, they're not happy. And it was shocking for me. It was shocking. I thought I was meeting my heroes. And I found out that most of these people are not good people. It's not worth it. They didn't live lives I wanted. They weren't able, for the most part, to be respectful to other people. They would fight, get in arguments, say dumb, stupid shit with each other, and do the same stuff that I see the poor do. And that was so shocking for me, because I thought money fixed everything. Yeah, and I guess if you know about money, you know that it doesn't fix anything, right? Or it doesn't fix everything. But for me, that was like it was a rude awakening. And I was just pointing out that that's the reality of it. So, like, that's why people were able to hate on me, because they felt betrayed. I wasn't a rich person. But because I was around rich people, they assumed I was. They ignored me when I told them that I used credit cards to buy my plane ticket and laptop, that I didn't have any money saved up and I was in debt. They just glossed over that, even though I told them regularly. They thought, look, he's next to Big Rich Man. He's in Big Rich house. He's also Big Rich. Let's follow him. Let's get Big Rich too. So then, of course, the other guy starts talking shit about me and saying I don't make any money and crap, which I never claimed I was doing, right? And so now his entire audience, which was like, I don't know, like 30, 40,000 people compared to my 10,000 people, his entire audience just hated me and started just like attacking me for betraying them and lying to them about a lie I never made. You know, and that was my entry to politics. That's when I got it. So like I can understand some of the stresses that people go through, you know what I mean? Like, definitely. So, oh god, I fell in the lava. That's, oh no, I don't want the lava. There's this thing that happens if you burn too long in the lava, you just burn forever. You don't want that to happen. All right, let's see. Let's read these comments again. All right, so that was the story about that. I told you about that thing. Bauron has a similar experience. All right, and then, all right. So let's see. The Monster Lord said, according to what Smitty did say during a talk with Christie, that Irongate, the devs wanted to install mods. The mod creators didn't know how save their mods really are, and that's why they didn't. Could you I'm not sure I follow. Like, what do you mean by how safe or how save the mods really are? How safe? I don't know. Wait, where am I? What is this? Oh, this is the Enigma path? It doubles? Oh, yeah, it does. Okay, cool. So, okay, yeah, if you could rephrase that, Monster Lord. I'm not sure exactly what you're saying. Maybe you're saying that the mods were unstable and they didn't want to mess that up? That's my understanding, but maybe you can correct me. And then Bauron says, well, I do know a bit about how those kind of contracts look. Like, that's my suspicion about it. But what you said about not having a face, it does sound like a thing. Yeah, Irongate doesn't have a... Well, I think they hired someone to manage their social media, right? So it's like, they do have a social media presence, and they have someone whose job is to do that. But, like, yeah, I mean, if you really want to connect with your audience as a game developer, you got to manage that yourself. You know, you don't have to manage the social media yourself, but you got to be like showing up in interviews. You got to be like live streaming, showing what you're doing, maybe like having a live streamed company meeting every now and then, just so people get a taste of what things are like. You know, there's things you can do, and that's the thing that's so crazy to me. Like, Irongate doesn't need to work faster. They just need to show us more of what they're doing. You know? And what's so crazy, it started that way. You can find blogs of Tolroco, development blogs that show like each little thing they were working on, and like I don't know what happened. Like I don't know. It's a mystery, right? And Bauron says this started as an indie game, but they needed funds to go full time and push it out. Yeah, I see. So it started as an indie game, but it went into published game before it went into early access. Is that right? Because I don't actually know when Coffee Stain got involved. I don't know how that works. All right. So then Bauron says, so a big pile of indie actually have publishers. Yeah. Publishers provide you with large leverage with marketing and funding for it. Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, art and publishers, it doesn't matter whether it's video games or books or movies. It's the same. You know, you're always better off if you can get away with not having a publisher. But good luck, right? Like, I'm trying to leverage that by spending a decade on YouTube before I make a game, and like, so that I won't have to have a publisher. But most people aren't willing to show their face like I am. Most people aren't willing to put themselves out there publicly. So I know that that's just not possible for most players, like if we're real, right? So let's see. Then let's see. Did I? Oh, you guys are talking enough. I'm having trouble catching up. Let's see. Then Fire says, I think Valheim is popular because of Iron Gate, but when it became popular, Coffee Stain offered money to help proceed. Oh. And Balron says that Satisfactory and Deep Rock, and Satisfactory is also one with the same publisher of Coffee Stain. Interesting. And then Baron says there needs to be a human connection of some sort. That's why a company needs a face, and that's why every big group has their representatives, like in TV shows, etc. Yeah, you're completely right. Absolutely right. Maybe that's sort of the missing part, right? And I didn't mean to be so harsh about my comment about Valcon. I just can't really imagine, like if it's true the publishers stopped them from showing up, how come the composer was able to show up? You know, he puts music in the game. He's working on music for Deep North and even, like, talked to us about it. So I don't know. You know? Monster Lord says, Iron Gate asked one of the mod devs how safe their mods are. The mod creator could not assure... Oh! Okay. The mod creator could not assure to Iron Gate that personal data would not be leaked when the game is started with the mod installed. Okay, no, that makes sense, especially because Iron Gate's based in their EU, so they have to deal with, like, a fuckload of protections about people's data and stuff. It still sounds kind of like a reach, though, if I'm gonna be honest. Because there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle that aren't perfectly explained by that, you know? So, I mean, we'll see how it goes. But ultimately, you know, I'm over. I was frustrated earlier, like, I don't know why, but I really thought Deep North was gonna come out later this year. Like in Christmas, or I don't know why I thought that. Like I really believed, even knowing everything I know about Iron Gate and Valheim, I thought that a year and a half was enough time, especially after 2 summer breaks from Ashlands. I thought that was enough time. I mean, obviously I was wrong, right? And they didn't, and honestly, it wasn't even the fact that it's delayed or that it's coming out later that bothers me. 'Cause it's not like I want them to release it now, you know? Like, if it's not done, it's not done. Like, it is what it is, right? It's more that, like, they tell us things, you know? And then I listen to what they say, and then I have an expectation, and then they just don't follow through with it. And it's like, all right, I guess I can't trust what you say anymore. You know, and that's always sad to, like, get to that point with people. But I think ultimately Deep North is going to be awesome. Like, so, okay, let me end this by being positive, because I know I've been pretty critical these days about Iron Gate, and I'm not just a bundle of criticism, I swear. I fully believe that Deep North will be a really beautiful, beautiful biome with lots of really, really cool aesthetics and build pieces, and probably a really badass boss. Because I don't know if you've done much with the assets from the Fader fight, but Fader is incredibly well designed compared to the other bosses, especially the earlier bosses. Fader feels like they learned their lessons a lot. Like, I really do believe that. I'm not saying, like, you know, there's reason to kill Fader or you get something good for killing him that motivates people. I'm just saying that the actual fight itself, the dynamic, the assets, the arena it occurs in, it's a good fight. There's cool attacks. They're really interesting. There's a variety of different stuff going on. And I like Fader's model. I think it's a fitting boss, and they did a really good job. So I want to be clear that, like, I fully believe that when Deep North comes out, it's going to be great. I, ah, shit. I just realized I got onto the Enigma path by mistake. How did I do that? I am now going in a giant circle. That is funny. I was actually trying to go a different way, but I got sidetracked. Anyway, so I can tell you that with like complete faith. I'm not exaggerating or lying to you. I believe that Valheim or Iron Gate will do an amazing job with Deep North. Whether it comes out in 4 years or 10 years, whatever. It'll be really good. Um, Again, yeah, it's just a matter of like the. Here's how I look at it now, thanks to EWP. Um, Iron Gate makes a world. They make a beautiful world. A world with great world generation that looks really cool. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect world gen. You know, if you put a couple thousand hours into Valheim, you get to a point where you know every map by heart because it's actually playing on the same map. So that's how it is for me. I can look at a map and I know like where it is on the main map, and I know what shapes the islands have, where the big mountains are. I can just look at it and know that, right? So I'm not saying their world gen like ultimately is perfect in the long run, but it's good. I'm not going to criticize it. I don't think that that's really the problem with Valheim. It's not that their world gen isn't good enough or anything like that. That's not it at all. They make incredible stuff. But here's the thing. The stuff they make doesn't last because it's missing something. It's like the colors there. The beauty's there. The visuals there. The music's there. But the guts, the inside, is empty. And I don't mean empty in like a critical way. I love that it's empty because it allows me to treat Valheim like a game engine. It's this blank canvas full of incredible assets and art and cool music, and I can use all these things, right? But it is empty. And that's why I've been able to work on Path of Magic, because it's so clear. Okay, let's add more meaning. Let's add more depth. Let's add more interaction. Let's make the world feel more accessible, you know? And ironically, it is their emptiness that enables me to have so much fun. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you there, because yeah, the emptiness is a problem. But if it wasn't for the emptiness, I wouldn't stand out. I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So, yeah, you know? Let's see, then Bauron says, with the size of their success and the safe side of having backup cash, makes, well, feel a bit burnout. Oh, yeah, I mean, and that's a good point, actually. That's a good point about the money. I've been meaning to tell people this, but people have this attitude that, like, because Valheim got really popular in the pandemic, that they're just rich. And, like, guys, it's not like that. Like, you understand that it's completely possible they'll never, ever get anywhere near close to the revenue from the pandemic. I'm not even saying possible. That's the most likely outcome. Here, I can show you what I was trying to show you earlier, and I'll talk a little bit about the logistics of this. But basically, let's go. So I use Google Trends to compare games because for me, it's not about just playing the game. It's about the interaction with the game world. And people interact by talking online, making content, etc., etc., etc. So pretty much you can gauge what's going on. You can gauge the health of a video game by looking at its history, right? And so just to be clear, this is totally normal. There being a peak when it launches and never reaching that initial peak, that's totally normal. I'm not going to be saying that that's the big problem here. Oh, holy crap, it's already been long enough that the graph fits almost in a 5-year. Oh, that's depressing. I used to look at this thing years ago and I had to add a custom date here because this was like over here, but now it's over here, and it's been 4.5 years since Valheim blew up. Oh, I don't know why that makes me feel sad. Anyway, my point is that this trend data is incredibly important if you want to gauge the sense of a video game. What's normal is a peak followed by retention. Okay? So you can just look at this graph and know there was a major patch here, there was a major patch here, there was a major patch here, a major patch here, a major patch here. There's other bumps. I'm pretty sure one of these bumps is the adventure map. If I remember, you can actually see when the adventure map came, when Asmongold streamed it around that time, because so many people were looking at Valheim at that moment. I don't remember exactly when that was, though, so I'm not sure which peak it was. But most of these peaks are patches. Like, let's just load this real quick. Valheim major patch release dates. Can I just Google that? Does that work? Version history. Hey, there we go. Nice. Oh yeah, there we go. It's already got some nice things here. Okay, so Bogwitch, Ashlands, Hilda's Request, Mistlands, Frost Caves, Hearth and Home, and then initial launch. So there we go. Release date. Nice. Okay, so Bogwitch. I need to flip these. Give me a moment while I wrap my head around this. There. Okay, so we should have the initial update, and then Frost Caves, and then Hearth and Home. Oh no, Hearth and Home was before Frost Caves, wasn't it? Where is this thing? Mistlands. Where's Hearth? Yeah, anyway. I'll just look at the dates. Okay. So Hearth and Home was on 16th of September. So here we can see September. Yeah, that was probably this one, right? 2021. Am I tripping? Am I tripping? I think I'm tripping. Oh, no, that is right. Okay, so Hearth and Home is this. This is Hearth and Home. If that's Hearth and Home, I would assume this is Frost Caves. But I don't know. Let's see. January 2022. March 2022. Oh, no, actually. So that means January, February, March. Okay, so this is Frost Caves. Okay. What happened here, then? Was this when did Asmongold do that video? Let me check real quick. Asmongold Valheim. I think this is the main video that blew up, right? Oh no, this is about the adventure map. So it's later on in the timeline. Okay, gotcha. 1 year ago, December 27th, 2023. Okay, so that gives us a rough time frame. So basically that event is here. Yeah, so this bump here, I would guess, unless there was some other major update right at that same time, I don't remember, to be honest. This is probably Asmongold and their audience and stuff. I believe so, but I'm not completely positive. But the point is that there's events that increase the demand for things, right? And then always you'll get a drop off. Always there will be a drop off. That doesn't mean it's bad. But what you can do is you look at the new baseline. So here we can see that in general, let's look for the, oh, okay. Let me take a step back. I'm using Google Trends as if you know exactly how this works. Google Trends works in percentage points or percentiles. So it's looking here at all of Valheim's history in this graph and saying, okay, at that moment, it was 5% of its highest point. Okay? And then at this moment, here, February 21st, the week of February 21st, 2021, Valheim was more popular than it has ever been. 4 times as popular as even the peak. Okay? And I know you can probably already see the pattern here. These updates are failing to retain. I'm just going to be honest with you. The updates come out, the baseline goes to like 4 at the lowest, right? 3, 4, 5. I mean, you know, it's not like it's horrible, because like 3 to 6 may not seem like a lot, but that actually is a lot. That's double, okay? So like if you were to go to this point, I mean, this is actually pretty good. Over here, things are looking better. This is what you're supposed to see. You see how this is lower? This is the retention for the initial launch. This is the baseline. There's an update, and then boom. Didn't really change retention. That update didn't really do much for people, okay? But then you have boom. You got that update. Now look at what happens after that update. Huh. The baseline is noticeably a little bit higher. It may not look like much to you, but I can tell you that the difference between 3, 4, and 6, 7, this is about double. This update in early 2022 was analytically an effective update. So if we find early 2022, what happened in early 2022? Was it Hearth and Home? No. Maybe it was Hearth and Home. Yeah. What happened there? I don't know what happened there, but something happened here, and then the baseline's better. So whatever happened here caused people to come back, and then they were enjoying it more than before. And when a game is effectively updating, what's going to happen is you're going to get a spike and a new baseline, and a spike and a new baseline. And every baseline will be slightly higher, because your actual base of dedicated players is growing more than it is leaving, okay? And you can see that here, right? There's like spike, 5, loads of loss. Spike, all right, nothing. Spike, and then new baseline. Okay, good. That was good. Spike, and I mean, it didn't go down. So I would say these updates were relatively well received. And I think this is Mistlands, right? Mistlands, December 2022, December 20, yeah, exactly, here. So this is the Mistlands update, and then boom, look at that, new baseline. It is a little bit higher. It even goes up here, and then doesn't go back down. The lowest it goes is 5, not 3. Mistlands seems to have been a decent update. But look at the rest of this graph, guys. And I don't want to break your hearts, but Deep North isn't going to change this. You know what I mean? Oh, wait, is that when Infinity Hammer came out? Oh, what's up, Speed? Welcome. It's good to see another familiar name. I hope you're doing well. Let's see. So Infinity Hammer came out in 2022. Wait, 141. What's the 41? Oh, that's a version number. I was like, what date has a 41 in it? I was lost. Okay, 2022. So the first. So that's just so I know about your format with the dates. Is that the 4th of January 2022, or is it the 1st of March 2022? I'm not sure which one. I would assume, I guess I can figure out by looking at the graph, right? I wonder, did people immediately start using Infinity Hammer though? I feel like maybe it took a while, but let's see. So 2022, and we look at the first Oh no, that is here. Ah, okay, so that was the one I was looking at that I didn't know about, huh? That would April 1st. Ah, I see. Okay, so that's around here then. Yeah. So Infinity Hammer comes out around here. Honestly, okay, the things I've been telling you about with peaks and new baselines, that's when there's official patches or major like political events or something like that. Something like Infinity Hammer launching would be like not show up at first, but it would increase the baseline. So you might have just noticed that this baseline is actually because Infinity Hammer is out now. So the game is more replayable to the base audience. And that is a very fascinating point, actually. How do mods and their release schedules, how do they portray in this, right? I don't know. That's a good thing to look at. But the thing I was trying to show you is like, look, Ashlands. And okay, earlier I talked about Ashlands, but I was talking about my personal experiences on the server, right? There's a lot of other things that could be going on there, you know? Who knows? Ashlands came out in 14th of May, right? 14th of May, 2024. So that is June. Wait, May. All right. You see what I'm saying? Like, um, uh, do you see returning players spiking in a large way here? Yeah, some of them did come back, but would you believe that Mistlands was a better update? I wouldn't, unless I looked at the data. I don't think Mistlands is a better update. I think Ashlands is much more worth it. But it is what it is, right? And ultimately, like, the reality is, look at these baselines, guys. 6. 6. 6. I don't know if you understand what that means. But Valheim's not growing. Like, I love it. I really, really do. And I'm doing everything I can to change that reality. I really am. But the data shows what's going on. And that's why I don't think that it's fitting, isn't it, that I'm walking through the Mistlands right now as I'm like, I didn't think it was as good, you know? It's funny. Yeah, no, Mistlands is very beautiful, that's true. But Fire, basically what I would argue to you is that the endgame biomes don't matter. That's why I'm saying the Deep North isn't going to matter ultimately, because most Valheim players are Meadows, Black Forest, Mountains players. That's the entirety of their game experience. So I'm pretty sure that's why Ashlands was less popular than Deep North. Or sorry, than Mistlands. It's not that Mistlands was a more beautiful. Mistlands is very beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this is it's very beautiful. It's a very unique biome. I think they did a great job with the Mistlands. For me personally, Mistlands is when I became like a true Valheimer. Before then, Valheim was just another cool game. But after Mistlands, I started running a server and making content, and that's when I like, yeah, it was game over. I was into Valheim deep at that point. But my point's just that when people join Valheim, they're playing like earlier on in the game and then leaving before they get to that point most of the time. And keep in mind that the people like us who play all the time are like, we're like nobodies compared to the main player base. The main player base consists of people who are coming and going and coming and going and coming and going. That's basically how it works, what's going on. So that's why it's so unfortunately damning that these are all 6s. It means that despite the updates, more people are leaving than joining. And I don't mean literally playing. I'm not looking at the Steam numbers directly here, right? Ooh, cool little base there. Like I said, that's not... I don't think that's a good way to assess a game, right? It's Google Trends. I'm looking at how much people are talking about Valheim, how much people are making content about Valheim, right? So this is damning, guys. That's very damning. It basically means that they launch new updates and forget about how I feel, forget about how anyone feels, forget about good or bad, just analytically. They launch new updates, and the frequency of the updates isn't fast enough to make the baseline of players grow. So Valheim is an increasingly less popular game because the updates that bring players are, 1, not relevant enough, and 2, not frequent enough. So more people leave than join. And, you know, could change. I'm not saying I'm not some, like, prophet, you know? I'm not Stone Prophet. I may be Stone, but I'm not Stone Prophet. You know what I mean? But it's hard to recover from this kind of stuff. Like, I mean, I've looked at a lot of analytics for, like, my time in dropshipping and how I did that and all these things. And, like, you learn a lot. And it doesn't mean it's impossible. But it means that for things to change, for the trajectory to change, something fundamental would have to change with Iron Gate or the Valheim community. And that's where, like, I come in. Like, I'm not trying to criticize Iron Gate and just be critical and say they should be do better. I'm speaking this way because I want to help unite the community and understand that this game we love so much is not going to... It's not going to get anywhere with Iron Gate alone. We need to help Iron Gate. We need to show them how beautiful their game really is. We need to make them feel like that. And that's ultimately what my intention is. That's my purpose in this scene. I believe that they have lost their spark, but they're good at it. It's like that character in the anime who can save the whole world, but they, like, fucked up and made a mistake, and now they're super insecure, living in some dark, dreary cave, not doing anything because they're scared of hurting people. That's Iron Gate. And I want that to be Iron Gate. So that's the thing. Like, it's up to us, not just to make really cool stuff and reactivate the community, but to reinvigorate them, to reactivate their faith in this game. That's what it's about. That's what our role is, and that's what I'm trying to make happen with people. Who's online right now? Hey, Shady's on. 1 second. Okay, cool. So, and like I'm just telling you guys this because I know you guys listening to me now at this point, like, you're all people who you're not gonna, like, judge me a bunch and say a bunch of shit. But my point's that, like, when I criticize Iron Gate, this is why. It's not. I don't want to be right. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to attack them. It's more like this. It's like, hey, this is the problem. Let's work on it. Let's fix it. Does that make sense? I don't believe that it's possible for us to face this gargantuan task of showing Iron Gate what's possible with their own game unless we're willing to talk with each other and be critical but respectful. I think that's very, very important. And without that criticism, without that understanding of what's going on with the game and everything, I don't know, we're not going to be able to do it. Like, let's just be real. You know what I mean? Like, if we want things to work out, we basically have to unite the community of modders. We have to end this separation and fighting between the modders. We have to end this notion that some modders are better than others and that there's better groups. We have to end these things, and we have to work together. We have to show each other's mods. We have to talk. We have to make content on YouTube. If we really want Valheim to change, that's the truth of it. That's what needs to be done. And I don't know how that'll play out, but I know that I'll play a role in it. I don't know if I'll be able to influence people as much as I want to, but I can already tell how positive it is to just talk with you guys, especially like, yeah, all you listening right now, like, you're all awesome people who love Valheim. You know, you're like the real reason that it is what it is today, is people like you, who have that passion and are willing to make something about it, right? And I've seen yeah, Fire says that might be a stretch comparing IG to a superhero, but I get what it was more like, actually I was comparing it more to like Naruto or one of those animes, you know what I mean, where like the person, they can fix it, but they're, oh man, I was just about to compare it to Luke from the new Star Wars movies, but that would be so bad. Please don't be Luke. Please don't be Luke, Iron Gate. Please, no. Oh, that would be too bad. Too bad. But anyway, my point's just that the true health of things will come from the community, and not in an angry way, not in a resentful way, and not from one person. If we keep trying to be the best, nothing's going to change. We have to work together. We have to unite each other, and we have to leverage our audiences so that we can reach more people and reactivate the passion of Valheim. And I believe it's up to us. It's up to those of us who are willing to take responsibility for this wonderful game that we love. And that's why I criticize Iron Gate. It's not because I want people to agree with me. It's not because I want to be right. It's because I believe that by understanding these criticisms, we can work together and fix them. And I've noticed through talking with people like Balrond and Dakar that a lot of us being these creator types, right? People who make mods, make content, whatever it is you make about Valheim, we are very motivated, but sometimes we feel alone, you know? And ultimately, that feeling of a lack of community amongst us creators and mod developers, it's a problem, right? And I've noticed when I do those interviews, not very many people watch them. They're not popular videos. Only a couple hundred people watch each one. But they're so activating. People reach out to me. People make mods in response to those things. Like, they are so activating. And it's not even just for other people, it's for me. Like, one of the reasons I'm able to keep doing this is because I've met people like Balrond and Dakar and Raka and Fire and all these people. I don't feel alone anymore. I know that, like, yeah, the average player doesn't relate to me, but there's a whole bunch of incredible creators that appreciate what I do and respect me. And I feel like I'm a part of something. I feel connected. I feel able to do something about it. And that's where I believe that my role is. And that's why I'm so motivated to do this Enigma project. I don't know if you realized it, but I'm basically a Valheim propagandist. I don't care why or how people get back into the game as long as they're genuinely enjoying it. I will make a fool of myself and antagonize people if it means that we can genuinely bring more people back into the game. And I'm not saying I need to antagonize you guys or anything. I'm just saying that sometimes on YouTube, you can reach more people by being a little bit antagonistic at the right moment, right? So I'm just saying, it's a thing. But we'll see. So I'll end the stream when I get back to the center of the world, because we will have basically timed how long it takes to go halfway down the path. I don't know if you noticed. Actually, no, that's not even true, because I don't know. When did I start running? I didn't start the stream running, right? Probably like 30 minutes. So it's taken me... Uh-oh. Ah, sucker. It's taken me like I'd say like an hour and a half to run down all of this. So it's a long path, right? Whew. Long stuff. So let's see. Bauron said, this makes me hear the Team Rocket catchphrase. They're blasting off again. Yeah. Oh, I love Pokemon, man. I don't know if you can tell because I use the Pikachu memes like all the time, but yeah, I love first generation Pokemon. That was my shit. I had this friend. I lived in Maryland, and I had a Japanese friend who would visit every summer, and he would bring all of the latest toys in Japan and like show them to us. And it was crazy because he'd show up and he'd have like Beyblades, and then we'd be like, what the fuck's this? And then like next year, Beyblades would be everywhere in the US. And then like he'd show up and he'd have like, first like Pokemon cards or something. And we'd be like, whoa, what are these? Japanese Pokemon cards? What's that? And then boom, Pokemon cards were everywhere. And so I got like a taste of things before they became popular in the West. You know what I mean? Hello, Silly, or Chili, Kylie. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but welcome, welcome, welcome. And so yeah, that was a little tangent there. But Fire says, which is a goddamn shame. I love your interviews. Ah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think the new format's going to go well, to be honest, because the interviews were bottlenecked by the fact that I had to edit them and take time to do it. And I felt it was stressful for me because I don't want to let the other person down. And I don't care how many people watch the interview. For me, it's about the other person I'm talking to. The interview isn't meant to be popular. It's meant to make a connection and do something useful for another member of the community and give them a space to talk and get some attention to their projects. That's what I care about. So like, I don't really care if it doesn't get that many views. But the thing that would happen is it would be too time consuming for me, and I'd sit on a recording and not publish it. And that was really stressful for me. I feel like I'm failing people when I do that. I feel like I'm letting them down. So I think the new format will work well because it's live streaming, right? So I don't have to worry about any of that anymore. And the first one's tomorrow. That's going to be really exciting. And it looks like we made it through this entire live stream. 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 20 minutes, 0 dropped frames. It's looking good. It's looking good. Let's see. Then Fire says, incredible stream. I loved it. Hype for tomorrow's for sure. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I did not think this was going to become a full stream. I really didn't. But it did. Look at that. It was a completely solid 2.5 hour stream. Wow. I started it off by debugging a script. Crazy. And now I know exactly why the whole trader system is not working, so I'll have to fix that when I get a chance. And then Bauron says, due to Poland being Poland and far behind the early 90s to 2000s, we actually got all the stuff way later than everyone else. Hey, you know, I've heard actually that Poland is kind of like Nicaragua in that way. I get that impression. It's not, obviously, it's not, and Nicaragua really doesn't have much money. They're probably further behind. If you're in Nicaragua, it's kind of like you're in the 80s or the 90s. Like, I mean, there's still like horses in the street, okay? Like, no, don't get me wrong. There's very few horses in the street because they're almost all motorcycles now. But that being said, there are horses in the street. I've been able to pat a horse on the way to the grocery store, that kind of thing, right? But it is kind of similar in the sense that Poland has a cheaper cost of living, right? But I guess now that we're getting to the end, I seem to have caught up with all the comments. So, is there any preparation you guys want for tomorrow? Because I'm going to be talking to Dakar for a while, so, I mean, what do you want to learn? Is there anything you want to know from him? I can get it out of him, maybe. So, the thing is, like, I'm not interviewing him. We're just going to hang out, chat. We'll look at the chat, respond to some questions. Yeah, I mean, I've done this with Dakar before. We can just banter back and forth for ages. But I don't have any intentions, is what I'm saying. So if any of you have anything you want me to ask him, I mean, you could. I know that this stream's about to end, so maybe you won't post it before I see it. But you can comment as long as you get your comment to me or you message me on Discord before the live stream tomorrow. I'll see it. You could also join the live stream, but I know some people won't be able to. But in general, just so you know, that time is probably what I'm going to target for my live streams. We'll see how the participation goes. But yeah, because I have this funny situation where, like, most of you're in Northern Europe. Not necessarily all of you, but in general, the Valheim community it's interesting because it's an English-speaking community filled with people who don't speak English as their first language. And they're constantly apologizing for their not perfect English when there's more Valheimers who don't speak primary English than Valheimers who speak primary English. So I think that's kind of funny. Most Valheimers are from Northern Europe. They're from places like Finland, Sweden, Ukraine, Russia, etc. This is where most Valheimers actually are from analytically. It's actually interesting. It's not a popular game in the United States. It is almost entirely played by people in Northern Europe. Something like 70% of the player base is just in a few Northern European countries. So there's definitely that part of the reality as well. You know, there is the cultural reality that a lot of the Valheim community, they're very much of that culture, right? So, but my point is that things are later on. They're later on in the day for me because I live in the tropics in Nicaragua next to the equator, right? So it's like completely different than most Valheimers who are in like cold Northern European countries, right? So that's just a funny little tangent there. But I'll have to figure out a time that works well for the streams because before when I was live streaming, it was too early, to be honest. It was way too early. I couldn't do that. I have to make something that works for me, but it's still earlier in my day. But I think if I start at like 10 a.m., then that'll be like I don't know what that is in Northern Europe, but it's somewhere around like 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. or something like that. All right. All right then. Thanks, teens. Thanks for watching, everybody. as a reminder, tomorrow I will be doing another live stream. Actually, less than tomorrow. Tomorrow morning in like 12 hours or whatever. 16 hours. I don't know how long it is. And we'll be talking with Dakar. And here you go. If you don't know who Dakar is, I doubt any of you listening don't know who Dakar is. But whatever. Maybe someone's watching this VOD later on YouTube. This guy. This guy. He does crazy stuff. And we're going to be talking about the custom Valheim worlds that we're working on. I'm not talking about like just some custom world. I'm talking about entirely new game types that you can download and try. Both Dakar and I are working on completely separate projects, but they have a lot of similarities that are made primarily using Expand World prefabs, using Valheim as a game engine. That's the attitude. And Dakar has a more sci-fi, he's got a completely different take on it than I do. So it's going to be really cool seeing how we both like talk about the different things we're developing, what it's been like. People will ask some questions. We'll do some little demonstrations when it's relevant. Dakar is going to show off some other things as well that he's been working on. And I'm excited. I know for a fact when people actually start trying out Heimdivers, they're going to lose their minds. Like it's so cool. It's super unique. And it's really, really interesting. And then before I end, Bauron says, well, the Norse culture is just close to close to us. Yeah, exactly. One way or another, we did experience it. Exactly. And you know, I wonder about that because, okay, yes, Valheim is a Viking game, but are there only pirate players of pirate games where there were pirates? Are there only people interested in ancient Egyptian games in ancient Egypt? Are there... You see what I'm getting at? It's like, I understand the context, right? It's just interesting because if you look at Google Trends geographically, actually I can just show you, whatever. May as well just show you now. So where's our Google Trends? Here we go. Let's look at Valheim worldwide. Not for the past 5 years. We don't want that spike. That's going to bias our data. Let's look at who's currently involved, right? And we're going down here. So you can see that Finland, Estonia, Sweden, Norway, Lithuania, Denmark, Latvia, Canada, Poland, Chechnya, New Zealand, Australia, and then United States is number 13, right? That's why I'm not kidding. Like, it really is. It's like Northern Europeans, right? But what's interesting about it is how well, as Balron said, it matches the Vikings area. Like, I know that might seem obvious to you, right? Like people would say, like, of course it's a Viking game. Of course people are going to mostly play from those areas, but that's not actually normally true. Most games you can't just look at the map and just see an obvious parallel to the culture. Like, at least I don't think so. I mean, let's see. Black Myth Wukong is very much Chinese, right? So Black Myth Wukong, here. Very, very much Chinese, and it is mostly in China. I mean, yeah, maybe I'm full of crap, you know what I mean? Because I actually thought this game was kind of popular over here. But it's way more popular in China. Oh, crap. I'm glad China has video games. I know plenty of Americans who act like China has nothing, no quality of life, and there's no way they could ever make a video game, so let's see how they feel about this. But yeah, maybe I'm just wrong, but I was under the impression that people like didn't need to be from Scandinavia to like Vikings, because I know loads of Americans who love Vikings and are obsessed with it. But maybe you're right. Maybe it is that simple, and I was overthinking it. In my head, though, it's more that it hasn't reached the other markets, you know? But who knows? Anyway, everybody, Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and I will make sure to rest up. I'm feeling tired now, which is good because I haven't been sleeping. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, I guess I need to do these pitch things. And if you want to support my work, then consider renting your own dedicated Valheim server. I've got loads of content all about setting up your own world. You can use my link, JP Valheim, at Zap Hosting. I've been hosting Zap servers for almost 2 years now, and I really love the experience. Palm is a Zap server you can play on and try out. So consider that if you want to get your own server and you've been thinking about it. It's a great way to help me out. Anyway, have a good one, and I'll see you all in another video. Thanks for watching.